Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. As we talk on our flagship station, I love to say that, ESPN 790 here in Memphis, Tennessee, but all you folks out in Brownsville on AM 1520 and 95.3, and of course over in Jackson at 101.5. Glad to have you on board as we stretch throughout of West Tennessee and all the way into almost central Arkansas, and of course down to Grenada, Mississippi. Good Saturday morning on this April the 28th, as we get closer and closer to Cinco de Mayo, which I always love to celebrate that day because I'm looking for tamales, and I love that kind of food.
Love those tamales.
I love those tamales, yeah. But this is for Saturday, which means Ron Wong, he has trouble keeping up with what Saturday he's here because he's here most of the time. But Ron is.
Good morning, everybody.
Ron gave us a great report last week of an event that went on at Ross Barnett, the American Crappie Trail, and we'll be talking more about that with Ron at the end of the show. And of course, Bill Cooksey, if you missed the first part of the show today, talking about the big meeting in Washington, D.C., where everybody was required to wear ties. That
it was voluntary.
It was voluntary, but it was
they just all stepped up to the plate.
But you know what? Nothing wrong with being respectful.
Exactly.
No, in our nation's capital,
exactly.
So you can go
that's
to
the right way
101.5 and listen to it 24/7 and pick back up of Bill's talk about his trip to Washington.
We're on a full moon, or getting on a full moon now, and.
Yep.
The fish are starting to spawn.
And two of my neighbors start howling about this time, too. They get out in the cove and at that time.
And they're dropping Kentucky Lake, and the fish are starting to spawn. So it's perfect.
They were dropping it, but it's rising again because of the recent rains, and they've shut the gates down because of the rising Ohio and Mississippi rivers.
Well, if you're out in the field down and you're looking to say, well, I don't know what I'd be, you could, if you had a house out in the field, there are some blinds now that I think I could live in. Or it really
Absolutely.
is. And I think this guy coming up with us right now makes some
air conditioning.
Makes some of the best, if not the best, blinds. Whether you're on the ground or whether you're up in the air, and he even has a duck blind. And that's our good friend Danny Little from Redneck Blinds up in Lamar, Missouri. Good morning, Danny.
Good afternoon, folks. How are you today?
Glad to have you with us as we talk outdoors here on Outdoors with Larry. You've been with us before, and I know, Danny, you guys, if I'm not mistaken, now you're born and raised in Lamar, right?
That's correct.
And you were a former banker, right?
Yes, I retired about 12 years ago from banking, and finally doing something fun now.
And you found a building. Tell the story about Redneck Blinds and how you got to where you are today, because it's a kind of a fascinating story. Take us from where you retired from the blind. Now, Lamar is a population of what, 3,000 or 4,000?
4,300 people.
Okay, that many people, and how many red lights?
There's one.
Okay, it took Danny a while to count those, though. You want to make sure of that, and everything.
Things change.
Yeah. But talk about how Redneck was started.
Well, when I retired from the bank, I got involved in a business that had to do with synthetic turf putting greens. And I had acquired a company that was making a product selling systems for people to install synthetic turf putting greens in their backyard.
Putting greens, okay, all right.
And putting greens, and we it all happened because I couldn't putt, and
you're my man.
I kept losing bets on Saturday.
Okay,
and it was all because I could never get it in the hole once I got on the green.
Okay, I'm with you.
I bought one of these, and I liked it really well. And the gentleman that came and installed it for me happened to be the owner of the company. He was a mechanical engineer, and he had worked for Boeing at one time, I believe. And he was looking for something different to do, and we kind of hit it off and became friends. And next thing I know, he talked me into buying half interest in the company.
Okay, there you go.
And as I got involved with it, we started looking for other products to sell. And one of the products was we thought we could sell through that same dealer network into the backyard market, was an outdoor game court.
Uh-huh.
And I found a product over in Switzerland. It was a modular tile.
In Switzerland. Okay. Redneck Blinds starts in Switzerland. I'm still thinking about this, Dan, as you're telling this. Cause,
it's a long story.
Oh, that's all right. We got time here. Go on now. You're in Switzerland now. Okay.
I'm in Switzerland, and we visit, a gentleman. He's an older gentleman, and he had this nice modular tile product that was made for, they were selling it to put on old tennis courts. And we brought this back and came up with a court system that could be installed in people's backyards in a do-it-yourself environment.
Uh-huh.
And they would be painted with basketball courts, shuffleboard courts, badminton lines, and you could play a variety of games on them. And that business started to take off, and I ended up kind of branching out and starting to sell some of that product direct to consumers on the internet. And then because I was involved with the synthetic turf company, I looked for other products that we might be able to introduce to that market. And I came across a product in Canada that was a recycled foam pad that was made out of scrap closed cell foam.
Hey, we're in Canada now. We go from Lamar to Switzerland to Canada, and now you're in Canada, and you found something that might be able to be used for something else.
Yeah, and it goes underneath synthetic turf, and we develop a product to go underneath playgrounds for safety surfacing and drainage, and it also works well to go underneath synthetic turf on football fields.
Amazing. All right.
And I was distributing that product for this company in Canada. In the meantime, we were selling the courts and the putting greens. And as this playground system started developing, the customers that I was selling to, they didn't like the fact that I was also a competitor against them.
I wonder why.
With the synthetic turf system. So I sold the putting green company to another company in Georgia and concentrated on the distributing the foam pad out of Canada and manufacturing the game court system. And as the business grew, with the game court system, I happened to need a bigger building in Lamar. And I acquired one.
O'Sullivan. Now, this is the O'Sullivan building. You said
this is not.
We ain't even got to O'Sullivan yet. Okay, keep going because I don't.
It was a company that had been doing just-in-time storage for O'Sullivan Industries, but O'Sullivan Industries got into financial trouble,
and they went under.
They went under, but in the meantime, I bought this building and. It just so happened that somebody had just moved into it without a signed lease, and they were trying to start a company that manufactured fiberglass car bodies.
Now we're getting there. Now this is the
32, 33, and 34 Ford hot rods.
There you go, the hot rod. I knew that you were into the hot rod build.
I was just in
Redneck Street. This is where we got Redneck, right? The Redneck Street Rods.
Yeah, the name of the company was Redneck Street Rods. Well, unfortunately, those boys had moved into the building without a lease, and I needed the building for my business. And next thing I know, their financial partner had got upset with the transaction because they had moved in without very good planning. And next thing I know, I'm half owner in the hot rod business.
So you've made this circuit now from Switzerland to Canada to Georgia,
back to Lamar,
with 4,000 people, and then I understand O'Sullivan, which was most of the town worked for O'Sullivan.
Yeah, about 1,500 people.
1,500 of your 4,000 people worked at O'Sullivan.
Right.
Now, to make a long story short,
as the plant in Michigan or the plant in Canada, that I was distributing the pad for, they went broke, and I ended up buying all the manufacturing equipment and moved it to Michigan to be close to the source for scrap foam. As we were messing around with that, we decided to try. It was an accident. Accident. One day on a Thanksgiving day, we were messing around in the backyard of my parents' house and got the bows out for a nephew to try a new bow, and we got a piece of that foam pad out of the back of my brother's truck and leaned it up against a firewood pile and shot an arrow into it, and that's what made us try to make archery targets out of the
you're telling me
scrap foam pad.
That's the way Big Green Target started in your backyard.
Right. And that's what introduced me to the hunting industry. And as I was going to trade shows and hunting shows, advertising the archery targets, and during that time frame, the economic crisis of 2007, 2008 hit.
Yeah, we know that.
And it kind of crashed the hot rod business.
So the hot rod business went under.
After a couple of years, I told the other boys, I said, I don't know about making street rods, but I said, I think there's a demand for fiberglass hunting blinds in this country. And I said, I think we could design a better mousetrap than what's out there on the market. And so that's how Redneck Blinds got started, was because I couldn't putt. And one thing led to another, and
amazing.
That's how. And
amazing from a banker with no idea what was ahead to do this, and you've kept it all in Lamar. I mean, I understand that rednecks are sold everywhere. I mean, as far I read where you sold 34 to one guy. With 22,000 acres in Alabama or Georgia.
Well, he's got 34 places.
He's got over 100 of them now.
He's got 100 of them now.
I was going to say, that's a lot of land.
That's a lot of land to cover and everything. Well, Danny, we don't.
Can you give me a number for that fella?
22,000 acres is a lot of.
Well, we got to get Danny going here. Before we let you go, I got to ask you now, because a lot of you folks out there think, well, I can't afford one of these things or whatever. Danny, are they in most states now? Are you shipping to just about the entire United States?
Yeah, we'll ship anywhere in the lower 48 states.
Lower 48 states, and you can get a redneck blind. And I noticed the ground blinds, before we let you go, you make some great, as we saw, tall, I'm sure they're in Texas and places like that, but you also make a ground blind. And I think
we make some soft-sided blinds.
Yeah.
Are probably better than any ground blind on the market.
I got to hear that. Now, Danny, I don't climb up in the air. I'm on the ground now. And you just said something. You just caught my eye.
These are awesome. They're 6x6. You can put 3 or 4 people in these. We have blinds that look like hay bales.
I saw that. You got a hay bale. I like the ones that are on the ground that you guys have come up with, because I was telling somebody
horses are too high for Larry. So.
Horses are too high for me, but they've got the soft-sided. They got the Camo Deluxe 6x6 blind. They've also got the Gilly Deluxe 6x6 blind, and you can get those. I noticed on the website they're all on sale now. So you can
they're on sale now.
Have a chance for that. But tell our listeners how to get in touch with you guys, Danny.
Yeah, you can just visit our website at redneckblinds.com. Our phone numbers are on there. You can buy online. You can email us. And we also have a large dealer network all over the country.
You do.
And our dealers are listed online, and most of them carry our fiberglass blinds, and they offer installation services, and it's a great experience. It's a good way to introduce kids to hunting, a great way to introduce women to hunting, and I guarantee you that you'll never be dissatisfied with your experience with dealing with Redneck Outdoor products.
Well, when he guarantees it, he means that. We're going to talk again closer to hunting season, but hey, folks, these are great for photography. you just want to get out and watch the outdoors. Every one of these is that. Danny, thank you, buddy, for being on with us again. And
Larry,
let's talk down the road again when we get closer to fall, because I want to talk to you about one of them ground blinds for this old man, okay?
Okay, we'll get you taken care of, Larry.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Danny Little. All right, let's take a break. Come right back and going to talk a little scent lock. And I talk some Plano. Who knows? We're going to talk some outdoors on Outdoors with Larry Ray.